Leon.
What's up, Tasha? How you doing?
But just share a little bit of your background, and then we'll jump in.
Okay. Served 32 years in the Navy. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. I have 3 kids. I have 3 godchildren. I'm gonna be a grandfather here probably in July. I have a dog. I'm single. Needed to be single for a while. Divorced. Was married for 12 years. I did a lot of cheating. I did a lot of disrespectful things. I was very dysfunctional. Come from a broken home. Great parents. Lost my way for a long time. Joined the Navy. It was great for me and it was bad for me. Healthy, unhealthy. But overall, I love the military. I'm from Cleveland. Live in Chicago now. Been off and on in Chicago for the last 20 years or so. And yeah, I have a narcissistic personality disorder. Have many more things: PTSD, sleep apnea, migraines, you name it. So I'm still here living the day to share my story and help people.
Thank you for sharing. That's actually a lot that you summed up in like a minute, but I think that's also what actually adds to just your story in general, because you're putting it all out there.
I am, Tasha. You know, I was on, my plan was like last year just to find a girlfriend, get married, live happily ever after, go away in the sunset, die, and go to heaven. But I felt empty and I felt incomplete. And so I knew it was something else for me to do. And the lady I was talking to last year about narcissism, she said, why don't you start, talking about it? Because for a long time I was like, I'm not talking about this,
Yeah.
But I forgot that I could help people. So my goal wasn't just to go. I went through therapy and I was like, cool, I'm straight. Therapy, good to go. Now it's therapy, rehab, help people, and change people's lives. So that's what I started doing.
And I think that's the blessing behind it. Honestly, people that may look at you, and there's probably people in your life that may look at you and say, Leon, like really? And that's why I think it's important for us to do conversations like this, because there may be there are Leons out there who don't feel that they are worthy to share. So the fact that you're putting yourself out there and you're sharing with the goal of trying to help people change and grow.
There are a lot of female and male Leons out there, and it's tough. So I share my story, and I'm very open and transparent and vulnerable. And this is the hard part for me. The easy part was ghosting, breadcrumbing, silent treatment, love bombing. That was easy for me because I was so dysfunctional, rude, in all this. So this is the hard part, but I like for it to be hard and tough so that I can continue to grow.
Now, about how long have you been sharing your story, Leon?
So what happened was back in 2016 when I started writing my book, my first memoir, started talking about relationships and things like that in my past, my childhood, and I just didn't feel like that was enough. So I said, you know what, dude, you're not being authentic enough. And so I waited. And then last year I did a video about narcissism and men and women with narcissistic traits. Then I did another video about ghosting and stuff like that, and it went viral. And I was like, it scared me because I didn't know how widespread it was. I didn't know. I knew what I was doing, and I knew that the people that I hung out with, what they were doing, how they were acting and treating their women or wives and stuff or girlfriends, and the women that I hung out with, how they were treating their boyfriends and husbands. But when I posted the video, it just blew up. And Erica Campbell got a hold of it, the Mary singer.
Yeah.
So a lady called me that morning. She's like, Leon, guess what? Your video went viral. And I was like, what video? Because I was just posting and like, boom, okay, it's out there, whatever. And then I checked my social media, just started going and going and going. And I'm like, man, it scared me because I didn't know what to do after that. I could post, I could talk to people, I could share my story. But now I have to face the people that I hurt. Now I have to face the people that I remind them of their husband or their boyfriend. And women have questions. Women want to know, I've been called names, I've been cursed out, all of that. And so, yeah, that's how it started last year. I decided to change up, going from relationships to let me tell them really who I am. You
mean you've been cursed out since you've tried to start sharing your story?
Oh, yeah. Women like, you scare me, you trigger me, you son of a, you shouldn't be dating, you're wrong, Leon. I'm like, and so I stopped posting in November. I took a break because I'm like, so my thing was, I'm thinking like, yeah, I just do videos and put the knowledge out there and help people and woo, it's all good. No, when people say, being transparent and vulnerable, they don't know that it's hard because here in front of all these people, whether it's 50 people or 1,000 people, and I'm talking about Leon and what I did, and it's like, man, do you realize, dude, you hurt people? And when you hurt people, when I hurt women, it was second, third order of events, of effects, events that took place. So if I hurt my girlfriend, I hurt her sister, I hurt her brother, I hurt her mother, and hurt her father. And I never considered that. I never processed that. I never thought about that. Yeah, women, they had a right to be mad at me for saying, I was diagnosed with narcissism back in 1987, blah, 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 blah. And yeah, I was ghost bombing. I did this. And I wasn't trying to be cocky, arrogant. I was explaining my story. But it's like, oh, some nerve you have, Leon, to get up here and talk about these things like it's no big deal. It is a big deal. And so I stopped posting for a month because I got tired of the negative energy. I was like, and then I said, you know what? God has always talked to me. I just didn't listen. And so for the whole month of November, I was like, last year, I said, I'm not doing this no more. Then I said, you know what? Let me get up and keep doing it, because it's not supposed to be for people to have sympathy or to hug me or shake my hand or feel sorry. No, Leon, you have to do this to help people. And sometimes when you're helping people, your story, your delivery can offend people. It can affect people in a negative way, because now I'm a trigger to you. I'm a trigger to Tasha, Tina, Lisa, Karen. And so I'm like, man, now it's like, I'm sorry. I wasn't apologizing before, but now I'm forced to apologize. Right. I have this gift to talk to people and help people, and I'm willing to do it. So being transparent and being vulnerable is tough. It's hard, but I got to do it.
Hard. Especially dealing with public, because people are going to judge. Like, so many people are dealing with this behind the scenes, but then when you put yourself out there, you still get judged. Like, oh, okay, wait. Oh, so he's like this. He's been like this. He hurts people. But you're turning it around, and this is what I like the approach. You're not trying to really attack. You're being candid about the fact that this is how people are treated. Like, men and women are treating their partners behind the scenes. People are becoming, like, literally traumatized from dealing with someone either with narcissistic patterns or narcissistic personality disorder.
Dealing with somebody like me. Yeah, dealing with somebody like me. I was a piece of crap. I wasn't good or healthy in relationships. A lot of infidelity, a lot of lying, a lot of sneaking around. I did a lot of wrongdoing. I did it all. I was very evil. And so women have the right to not trust me, to not like me, to want to see me, get the hell out of here, get away from me. They have a right for that, to do that, to feel that way. And I had to understand that, because as a narcissist, you don't take those things like softly. You know what I'm saying? I always had something to say, always had to win an argument, always had to put her down, always had to shut her up, always had to make her cry. And now it's like, I got silenced, So God put me on this journey. I'm gonna put you out there, shut up and take it. And so that's what I got to do. I have to believe that, and I do believe it.
And not saying that anybody deserves that, but I mean, I think it's. You said, what'd you say?
I do. I deserve every second of it. Think about what I did to women say I started dating women when I was a kid. I started having sex when I was 8 years old, okay, with my babysitter. I was addicted to porn at 7, and everybody knows the story. I was telling my uncle, ages 10, 11, and 12, off and on. I developed anger issues, and so I was doing this to women from like age 18 to 47. And so I made
You're taking ownership of it. And that's why I think I meant that in terms of saying, like, I don't wish bad on my enemies. You know what I mean? In terms of that, I think what happened in terms of your process, I think when you're processing any type of like healing, you do have to feel it. You have to feel. And so that part, I think what you said, what you went through that month where you just stepped back, that you were being punched on, and what you had did to other people, it had turned around on you.
Yeah, and see, the empaths would say, like you, like, I understand, Leon, you got to deal with it, you got to take it, but I got to roll with this, Yeah. Empaths have a way of feeling sorry for Leons. Don't feel sorry for me.
Right.
I tell them, look, don't trust me. We get together, we're dating, get to know me, watch my patterns, listen to what I say, see if I keep my word, am I honest, all those type of things. Can you rely on me? Am I going to call when I say I'm going to call? I'm going to text you back. Am I going to wait hours and stuff? Am I going to be sneaky? You're supposed to be that, not just because I'm a narcissist, but any person you're dating, you're supposed to think about those things. So right now, at the point in my life, I'm happier telling my story. I'm happier receiving what I put out there.
Right.
Even though it's coming back 20-some years later, it's still coming back. And so I have to stand strong and withstand it. And I'm doing that. If I don't do this, it's not like who else will, but really, who else will?
No, honestly, it really is. And the thing is, because you've actually been through it, literally been like front lines with how, and you know, so you can't, you're literally like, what do they say? God doesn't qualify the call. He calls the qual, he qualifies the call, you know?
Yeah.
So you're literally qualified to do this based on the fact that, for one, you're genuine about trying to make a difference. You're not trying to finesse anyone anymore.
No.
At this point, you really want to make a difference. And this, there's an 8-year-old, there's a 15-year-old, 23-year-old, 30-year-old right now that can turn their life around because
Yeah.
of your story. And
Right.
that's the goal. So what I did want to say, this is where we did talk about this just a little bit, like identifying it. Because I think what happens is some people are like in situations and or they grew up with narcissistic parents, narcissistic family members. Like, how can they identify? Like, you know, like, I'm in this situation. You just started talking about like when you're dating somebody, slowing down, waiting to see, like, what would you say in terms of like how do you identify it early on?
So for me, I think that women and men, because men meet narcissistic women, and I've
Absolutely.
met some that may not have been diagnosed, but they were Leons, and I can identify that just like that. So there's a lot of things. Let's start with the men, right?
Mm-hmm.
The red flags. We talk about red flags, but we don't like really get into it. Oh, he's got red flags, girl. You know, his credit score is low. You know, he drinks a lot. He smokes a lot of weed. He hangs out with his friends. Why?
Right.
Okay. I dated and slept with, and I'm ashamed to say this, hundreds of women, okay? Hundreds. And not one time did any woman ever ask me about my father, who had a very extreme personality. They didn't ask me about my mother, who had a very addictive personality. I have an extreme and addictive personality. I already know that. So they didn't talk about that. It's like I showed up in my Navy uniform or dressed nice, smelling good, fresh haircut when I had a hair, in shape, very talkative, very social, very engaging. And that's all they saw. That's all they wanted.
Yeah.
We're drinking together. It's a one night stand, and then the next day I'm gonna ghost you because I want to find somebody else. So the red flags are seeing if I keep my word. What am I talking about? Can I communicate? Are we just taking turns talking, or am I talking to you trying to one up you all the time? Keeping my word, talking about my past, not hiding it, not suppressing it. I did that in every relationship. My ex-wife and my ex-girlfriend from last year are just now hearing about this. They never knew because I'm in a relationship with them and I didn't talk about it. I hid it. And so I lied a lot. I was living life with a double mind. I didn't keep my word. I was in and out, up and down, all over the place, very sporadic, not remembering things, all right? Hiding my phone, you know, being very flirtatious, not coming clean. But a lot of things I hid. And the only time I had a lot of motivation and energy was when we were in the bedroom. Outside the bedroom, I wasn't motivated and energized to be around you. I didn't hold your hand. I didn't hug you. I didn't kiss you on your forehead. We didn't cuddle. I was always like breaking away. I was always escaping. I was always avoiding. I was always detached because my mother was detached. My mother was avoiding things. My mother avoided reality. I don't blame everything on my mother. I blame things on my dad too, you know? So my dad was always overbearing and overcompensating too. So the red flags, you know, pay attention to conversation, keeping my words, showing up on time. You know, do I have kids? Do I talk about my kids? Do I talk about my ex? Do you know about my parents? All of those things. It's just a general conversation instead of talking about my job, my car, my house, stuff that don't really matter, you know?
Or do the words match the actions also? That's
Never. They did in the beginning. That's where the love bombing comes. So you got to check out what I'm doing, what I'm saying. Does it match? Does it not match? Like you just said. And in my case, after 2-3 months, if that long, it didn't match. If you had sex with me early on, my words are really not going to match my actions because now I'm going to start to lose interest in you. Right. Not that you're a bad woman or bad person, but when a man loses interest in a woman, she starts to feel like, oh, it's me. How can I do better? I'm going to start losing weight for Leon. I'm going to get my hair cut for Leon. I'm going to wear less foundation for Leon. I'm going to wear lip gloss instead of lipstick for Leon. So women take it on immediately when I walk away, or I ghost them, when I don't call. They start to want to, and so that just played in my favor. As dysfunctional and evil as I was, that's what I wanted, and that's what I did to make her think that she wasn't as good as she was, when in all actuality, she was a lot better than I was.
And the thing is that what you just said, what happens is people will spend the rest of the relationship trying to get back the person they first met. Exactly. And then next you know, you have them dangling, but it's feeding something within you, obviously, which is unhealthy, but they're not recognizing that because they're still latched on to, because typically people that have narcissistic personality disorder are very charming. So you don't think, and people would think they're going to come off like this monster. That's what happened. They don't come off like a monster initially.
Yeah, very charming. Right, we don't.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very attentive and great listeners.
Yes.
So women like a man that likes to talk, but more so a man that likes to listen.
Right.
I wasn't listening to act like I was engaged in the conversation. I was listening to take data.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to tell me the more I listen, and if you're coming out of a bad relationship, a bad marriage, whatever, if you're coming off of being abused and I listen to you, you're going to tell me everything because you just want to dump. You just want to get it out. You want somebody to feel good about you. You want somebody to celebrate you. You want somebody to understand you. I'm doing all of that, but it's not for you. It's for me. And that's where the manipulation comes in at.
We do want to take time, you all, just to answer questions. So if anybody does want to join in the conversation, please feel free to request to be added, and we'll add you to the conversation. I do see a question, Leon, in the box so I just want to get you to answer a couple of questions, and then we can keep going. So someone says, Leon, after watching so many of your videos and live streams, I still can't let go. How do I adapt?
So what is she saying? She can't let go. Oh, the person?
The person. So she can't let go, basically, which is her. It looks like this is attributed to her ex. She said, my narc ex left me for his ex. Now he's contacting me. Why? They live together.
Because, so what happens with that situation is I've done that too. I left a woman, went with somebody else because I thought the grass was greener on the other side. Well, what I had at that moment was the best thing that I could possibly have, but I wasn't aware of that. That stems from my lust and my greed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I want her. Ooh, she looks good. Let me try her out. Then you get over here, you tell her a lie about her, right? And then so this one over here is going to do everything that this one wasn't doing. But then again, she might not be as good as the other one that was when you was with her. And so the reason why women have a hard time letting go is because they've been pushed to the side, they've been discarded and rejected. And then when you push somebody, and I did a video about the discard, when you push somebody to the side, when you reject them, when you cut them off, when you leave them for somebody else, women are big on time in a relationship. They don't want to give up time and invested time. Right. They don't like losing an investment, especially to another woman. But 9 times out of 10, it wasn't anything wrong with you. It was something wrong with him or me in this case, or his case. I was greedy and I wanted more. Also, the woman that I left was holding me accountable. She had standards there that I couldn't live up to. And so the new woman has very low standards. I can come and go as I please. She's not going to challenge me. She's not going to argue. She's going to cook everything. I wasn't a lazy dude. I just didn't have morals in a relationship, right? I can relate to any woman because I was very. So this woman, the lady here that said that, she's still holding on because y'all have hope. Okay? Hope doesn't get you anything. I hope he comes back. I hope he calls me. I hope he doesn't like her. That's nothing. He left her because she was easier. He left her because she's the path of least resistance. I did the same thing. If a man is white, Chinese, Asian, if he's a narcissist, he's still a Leon. It don't matter what color he is. He's going to do the same thing. So I get white women calling me about these same questions, Asian women, the same thing. We do the same thing. So women say, okay, he left me. What's wrong with me? How can I do better? Like I mentioned earlier, now she wants to go start either losing weight, gaining weight, get her breasts done, get her butt done, get her lips done, cut her hair, get more front laces, whatever, to try to impress him. And he's with another woman. So now what happens? He has the ability to have her and you, because you're going to break your neck trying to get him back because you lost him to another woman and not realizing that you pushed the man away because he shouldn't be with you, or God came in and removed that man out of your life because he was unhealthy for you. So women don't think about that. It's like, right, I like him, Leon, but I like him. The sex is great. You know, he's tall, he's handsome, he's beautiful, but he's gone too. He didn't think that way about you. I was the same way. Every woman I had was a great woman. I just wasn't a great man. I was the common denominator of all of my breakups and my marriage.
In studying just the patterns, because a lot of people also, you'll notice, not everyone's like diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder. People pick up patterns that
Right.
they've seen growing up. It's passed generation to generation. Most people with those type of patterns are empty inside. So they latch on to good people so that they could get filled up. There now also we could talk about, like she said, why can't I leave? Why can't I just leave him alone?
So
Talk about trauma bonding.
here's the thing. Why can't you just leave him alone? Why can you? How can you? Instead of thinking about why I can't, Leon, I can't do it. You already, it's already started when he left you. It's already, and I get this conversation question, and I'm not mad. I'm just passionate about it.
Absolutely.
It's already started because he's gone. It's already started, and it's hurtful to say this, but he's sleeping with and being with somebody else and not you. Don't think that you're not good enough for anybody. I said again, a lot of times you're too much for certain people like Leon's that's going to look for the path of least resistance. Now, I've been with women that I dated for 3-4 years. They didn't bring up marriage with them. When we first got started, I was like, I ain't thinking about marriage. Don't even bring that up. Okay, Leon, boom.
Like you would actually say that.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's
I get it out the way. So because I wasn't married. I got married. I tried it, but I wasn't groomed to be a groom.
right.
And I was meeting women that weren't built to be brides, and I was comfortable with that. Okay, because I didn't know how to be a husband, even when I was married. When I had kids, I didn't know how to be a father. I knew how to be a player. I knew how to be a liar. I knew how to be a cheater, because those were the people that I admired and glorified when I was growing up. My father was a great man. My brothers and uncles were great men. I had great men in my life. But I emulated what I wanted. I emulated the players. I wanted to be a player, a cheater, a hustler. I didn't sell drugs, but I wanted to be able to control a woman's mind sexually. So I studied women inside of porn to hurt women outside of porn. Right. I wanted to know your body better than you knew your body. So the fact that he left her, you have to understand, and I'm not a biblical dude. I believe in God.
Absolutely.
Simple. Sometimes people are removed from your life so that you can see your own life. Right? I was a screen for women, for empaths, and for Christian women. I was a blocker. So here they are, here I come. Now they can't see anything but Leon. And that's the way I wanted it. I had to have it that way. Because the moment she talked to her sister that's a Christian, the moment she talked to the first lady that's a Christian, they're going to start pulling her away from me. And I didn't want that. I didn't like that. So I couldn't be a good man for a Christian woman, because they saw me coming. They felt me coming. And I was like, I didn't want to be rejected. So, I didn't go that way, So I stayed away from religion. But the empaths, I was a screen. I was a block for women, for good women, for healthy women, for wholesome women, because I knew that it's only a matter of time before she becomes on to me and understand that I can't be this dude that I told you I was in the beginning. I'm not that dude. I can surprise you. I can do all these things in the beginning, but I didn't have longevity. I didn't have staying power, and so I wasn't able to maintain that. But I had long relationships, but they weren't the only women in my life.
Because emotionally, you were detached.
I was emotionally detached, and I was happy with being emotionally detached. Okay? And so that was like protection from my heart, because I felt like if my mother could leave me, any woman is going to leave me. I lost my mother 3 times. When we lost our house, when she started smoking crack from 1985 to 2012, and then when she passed away. And so I said, I made my mind up when I was 11 years old when we lost our house and got evicted. And I got sent to live with another lady that I didn't even know. I'm like, so my discard started at 11. My heartbreak started at 11. My ability to not love and care started at 11. And so I was good with that. It's like the opposite of somebody has a wholesome family for all their life. They have morals and character and integrity. That's what they want. That's what they need. That's what they're going to look for. Oh, no, not me. I look for the opposite of that. And that's what kept me safe. I don't have to like you. I don't have to love you. I can like you as much as I want, but I'm going to leave eventually. I'm going to be out of here. So when I feel you're getting close to me, I'm not going to like it, because I don't know how to react to that. I didn't know how to love. I didn't know what love was about. I knew hatred. I knew dysfunction. I knew fighting. I knew arguing. And I was good with all of that. And then I joined the military, and it's like you get like praise for being so tough and so mean and so strong. The more women you have, the more popular you are. The more you drink, the more popular you are. And I was all about that popularity, but it messed me up.
Right. But that's also the most, so there's a couple of questions, but I wanted to, so I do want to answer a couple more questions, but you were leading into the importance of like talking about childhood experiences, because I think this is where a lot of us, including myself, we like had to survive in a sense, whatever. So you learned your survival tactics. You took, I mean, but that was your survival, which many people are doing. But then you have the other people who are empaths or who are on the other end who may have witnessed abuse. So they're desensitized to it. They're actually used to seeing fighting, arguing, all that all the time. So so then we have to talk about the fact that that may get with Leon, right? A Leon, female or male, may look past some things because they saw it growing up. You know what I mean? Whereas someone else is like, I'm out, you know?
Yeah.
But we'll talk about this, just the importance of talking about your childhood experiences, like now, that can also help you. And then we'll jump in to answer some more questions.
Okay. So my childhood, it was like, I had great parents, okay? But at age 11, it was over for me. I wet the bed from kindergarten to 7th grade. I didn't find out why I was wetting the bed until I was 47. My psychotherapist told me that I was neglected and abused. I was like, at 47, I didn't know till I said 47. I'm sitting on that lady's couch for a whole freaking year, and she tells me, yeah, Leon, you were neglected and abused. See, it says right here. And I was like, reading this stuff, and I didn't want to put that on my parents. They didn't neglect or abuse me. Some things happened, okay? And so I developed a lot. I could have been gay, but I'm straight. I could have been a child molester, but I'm not. I could have been a rapist, but I'm not. I could have been a murderer, but I'm not. I could have been all those things because that's what happened to me. That's what I was shown. And so the first person I wanted to kill was my uncle. I had a plan. I had it all planned out. I had the gun and everything at 11, 12 years old. So I developed anger issues because obviously I didn't kill him. But I had it all figured out. If I kill him, I'm 12 years old, 11, 12 years old. I'm not going to go to jail. So I had
this is the uncle that you had an experience with, right? That there was
he used to put Vaseline on his hands and put his hands in my pants and grab me and make me like, there was never any penetration. But he's always put me on his back and then like put his hands in my pants. And I'm like scared. I'm too young. I'm too small. So in that, I started developing hatred. I started developing a lot of anger. And I couldn't tell anybody because I didn't want my mother to be like, don't be lying on my brother. Or I didn't want anybody to say, you know what, you trying to ruin things. No, so I kept it in. But then what happens? I'm like, I'm going to get him one day. He wound up getting murdered. He got shot in his mouth with a shotgun. I was going to do it first. I didn't have a shotgun. I had a 38. I have a mother's gun. Wow. But I didn't want my mother. I'd rather just take it in. And so I started suppressing that. And that's how my mother started suppressing things. When she got beat up, she didn't cry. My mother got her teeth knocked out, and I was there when she got punched in the mouth. I picked her teeth up off the ground. She didn't cry. She bled. We went home that night on the bus. I peed my pants when my mother got punched. So I've seen all of this stuff. So what am I supposed to do as an 11-year-old boy? How am I going to make a decision? And people are making decisions for me, sending me to live with a lady that I don't know. My mother and my brother living in a hotel. My sister's over the other side of town. I'm by myself. I'm 11 years old. So what am I supposed to do? Now I got to survive. Now it's on and popping because now I hate you. I hate my mother. I hate my brother. And to this day, me and my brother don't have a good relationship because some things happened over the past few years, you know? So 11 years old, what am I supposed to do? Who am I supposed to talk to? Who am I supposed to run to? And so I became very independent. And now I get into the military. I'm all over the world. I'm being very promiscuous. I try to get married. I'm a cheater. I couldn't stop. I made a choice not to stop because now it's like, I made this person. This is who I am. I'm successful. I'm winning. I'm number one. I'm sailor of the year. I'm recruiter of the year. I don't need you. I don't need you. I don't need you. All I need you for is sex. Okay, Leon, sex. Okay, Leon. Leon, you're not going to hold my hand. No, I don't know how to hold hands. I didn't know how to hug because that stuff was taken away from me. And so I became very, very angry and very, very vindictive. So all these traits of narcissism, manipulation, being vindictive, being seductive, classic, malignant, all of that. I grew into that and I became happy with that. So when I found out I was a narcissist, I'm like, bet, cool, whatever. I've been doing it anyway. Why should I stop? This feels good to me. How could it not feel good to me, Tasha? If I'm getting all these women, I'm getting all these awards, I'm winning, I'm ranked #1, I'm doing all this stuff, I'm traveling, I got a pocket full of money, I go overseas to Japan, Korea, Thailand, Hong Kong, Singapore, I got women all over there. How could there possibly be something wrong with me? How?
Right.
How? And just That's how we think. It's like, oh, you need therapy. No, I don't need no damn therapy. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing better than you. I'm doing better than you. I was always like that, you know? So how could it be something wrong with me to look? Figured out there was a lot wrong with me.
There's a lot wrong, but you're able to mask it by like masking it by like awards, succeeding, doing things, looking nice. You know, people don't look at that. They're thinking you're supposed to come off looking like a monster. No, you were out there winning. So the goal, but there's so many people now. This is where I'm like, I'm so grateful. Honestly, I came across your page because the approach that you're taking, honestly, is trying to really your real life. There are people right now. Someone mentioned, like, you sound exactly like my ex. Like this on the live right now. Like it's people can see like through you someone that they're dealing with or themselves. So
yeah,
but you mentioned so much about your childhood, Leon, that I think, like, had you started really processing that, and for many of us, honestly, so many things can be the people we select as mates, right. The people we even choose, you know, things we even choose to do would change, you know. I'm going to pause because I do want to give time. If somebody does want to join in the conversation, please feel free to request, and we'll add you. I'm going to look through, in the meantime, I'll look through the questions and ask more questions, Leon. There's a couple more here. So there's one. So a question here. My ex-husband is using the kids against me. My dad was a narc, and unfortunately, I need my ex for child support, but he's very mean to them. Can't just ignore him. I need the child support and don't want to mess them up. So what are your thoughts about that? So it sounds like she's in a situation where the ex is using her kids against her. She's in need of support, which a lot of times people don't leave because financially it's tough. But what do you suggest in that situation?
So first thing first is that because it normally happens to women first with the child support thing. I was pissed about paying child support. I was angry at my daughter's mother, but I shouldn't have been. She gave me what I allowed her to give me. And we were engaged in intercourse, and when I was engaged and then got married, it was bad. But for the women, you can't give up. You can't give in. You can't quit. When you're dealing with the Leon and we have children, you have to always expect some BS. And I did a video about this. No, Leon, and K-N-O-W, Leon, I know what you're trying to do. Don't think that the kids, so what women do, they think that everything that he's saying to the kids and turning the kids against her, you have to still be mom, okay? You have to still be a mother. You have to still be nurturing because those kids are going between the parents. That happened to me too. My mother tried to turn me against my dad and my father tried to turn me against my mother. But the kids are in the middle. I know for a fact that when the kids are in the middle, they love both parents. They want to be together. They want the parents to be together, but it's not going to happen. So she has to continue being mom and even take it up a notch to being super mom. But you have to understand, you can't let the narcissistic person upset you, antagonize you, because that's what they're going to do, because we do not like to lose to anyone, including the mother of our children. So we're going to fight, scratch, claw to do the best we can to win those kids over, to buy all the food, to buy the gifts, to go on the trips, so that when it comes down to making a decision, I didn't want to pay child support, but I was in the military, so I couldn't get full custody. But the best thing I had to realize, and it's hard to get men and other people to realize this when they're losing custody or they're not the fit parent, is to understand that it's best for the kids to be the better parent. And a lot of men are not going to say that. I had to come to grips with that because I wasn't the best parent to my kids. My wife, ex-wife, was a better parent than I was. But I can't tell her to have him think that way or tell him that because he's not. But she has to not, first of all, not give up and not quit. She's the mother of those children. It takes two parents. So she can't, get mad because he's mad, or she can't really have fear. Don't let that fear come in. Oh, I'm going to lose my children. No, you're not going to lose your children. The court is going to decide that. But meanwhile, while you all are beefing and arguing, fighting, she needs to watch what she says to him, the emails, the text messages, the name calling, because I went to court and that was brought up in my court case. And I was like, ooh, well, Mr. Walker, you called her a bitch and you said she wasn't, I'm like, damn, I didn't know. So she has to live and work and operate above reproach. You have to be the bigger person in a situation like that when it comes to parenting with a Leon. Because I want to be the better parent. I want the kids to love me and not like you. I want the kids to always rely on me. I want them to say, hey, daddy, hey, mom, we want to go to dad's house this weekend. Hey, and when my kids did that, me and my ex-wife had a great parenting agreement. So it was amongst us. But when my kids say, she would call me, Leon, they want to come over this weekend. I didn't say, damn, they just came over last week. All right, let it back, come over. Because that made me feel good about them wanting to be with their father. And so she has to take the higher road and understand before y'all go to court and while y'all in court and after court, it's going to always be some BS with somebody that's mad at you because he got away or because you got away or you because you filed for divorce. They're going to always be angry. I stayed angry with my daughter's mother for probably 15 years, but I was wrong.
But at the time, you didn't recognize it. Which
no. At the time,
yeah.
Yeah, at the time, I was like, you try to mess up my marriage. I shouldn't have slept with her when I was engaged. I was a bad boyfriend. But for many years, I said, you know, I'm a good boyfriend. I'm playing all these things. I show you attention. I was nothing, you know.
Now, the one thing I would say, I've seen situations where when there wasn't an agreement in place, and this is just speaking to people out, like people that I'll speak to, like one-on-one, where that person the ex may use, like say, won't bring the kid back on time or do it purposely. You know, they have a weekend or an event that they want to do, or they give them advance notice, but then they're saying, nope, sorry, you can't go. They have a trip planned. And so I think in that situation, your ex was blessed that you were willing to take them on.
Yeah.
But saying when they play games like that, I mean, would you think it's best to just get a third party involved?
You have to. You have to, because just like me, if the Navy didn't make me go see a psychiatrist, I wouldn't be talking to you today.
Yeah.
It was me, the psychiatrist, and the Navy, the third party.
Mm-hmm.
So I tell people the only way for a person that, like me, that will go through therapy and understand that they can be diagnosed as a narcissist is that it has to be something attached to it. And in some cases, sadly, with the person losing their kids and their wife, it's not good enough to make them go through therapy.
Right.
So with their situation, the parenting, the custody, she's going to have to get a third person involved. And black men don't like when they say you got to get that white man involved in our business. Mm-hmm. But if not, it's going to keep being dysfunctional. And the kids getting older and older. And they're like, man, I don't want to go over my house because dad going to trip. Or I don't want to go over dad's house because mom going to be mad. She's going to be calling. And you're hurting the children. The children, he need to realize that they're hurting the children right now. By them beefing back and forth, want to outdo each other, the kids are going to be hurt.
Definitely. And the longer they're exposed to it, they'll end up possibly repeating the patterns. You know, so that's the goal, is that we want to stop that. And I think when you do bring light because a lot of this is done behind the scenes, because they'll go, like a lot of people who are either narcissists or have that that pattern of behavior will treat people good outside. So people don't realize that they would even be treating this person like this. So the person feels crazy.
Yeah.
You know, the person that's in the relationship, man or woman, you know, if they're dealing with somebody that has narcissistic traits or patterns or whatever, they're feeling crazy because everybody sees them being great and they're turning it around like it's nothing. Like, I don't know, yeah. She's tripping, he's tripping. Yeah. And you start to really feel like you're crazy. So getting a third party involved also takes out that piece of you having to deal with the craziness.
Yeah, the mediator. You need a mediator.
Absolutely. There are a lot of questions, Leon. So I do want to just get to the questions people have. I feel like that's a little bit more important than my questions. But I want to just go back to another question that was here. How do your exes feel about you now getting help after they suffered all that time? Any bitterness?
No. I can imagine there's some bitterness. I can imagine that they would say, you know what, why now? You waited so late. Yeah, they suffered. They did. And I will for the rest of my life will regret the fact that I made them suffer. And so she's right. I don't think nobody has really reached out and said, you know, they mad or they're bitter. They reached out and it was like, because I knew that was coming. It's like, you didn't tell me these things now. I'm like, I know. And now I got to apologize. You know, when I was doing what I was doing, living the way I was living, I would never apologize. I never said I was sorry. I never did that. And so now it's like, yeah, I'm sorry. You know, I mean that. I wasn't in the right frame of mind. I wasn't healthy. None of that. You thought I was. I wasn't, you know. But yeah, they suffered. And now I have to suffer. Because like I said, this is
Right.
the hard part. This is suffering for me. It makes me stronger. It makes me better. But I'm not saying that I'm talking to people to make me feel good, to have sympathy. No, I'm talking to people to keep healing. In my medical record, it states that my therapy is indefinite. And it probably says the same thing for other people that are diagnosed with narcissism. And so this is part of my
I
therapy.
have heard that.
Yeah, this is part of my therapy. It's some suffering because I still have to being vulnerable and transparent. I never had to do this before. I should have done it a long time ago, but I wasn't going to do it. But now this is a form of suffering, whether people believe it or not, for me, because I have to answer questions. I have to ask questions. I have to respond to people. I have to, give people answers because like that, like her question is a great question. Yeah, I would suspect that there was, since I made them suffer, that there's some regret and they're a little upset with me now. But I'm trying to get on the right path.
At this point, you're really trying to just put the word out, to put awareness, because like you said, they didn't even know what they were dealing with when they were with you.
They all told me, so Leon, there's something wrong with you. And then I would become offended. I knew what was wrong, but they didn't know. So I'm like, okay, since you said it like that, I was going to tell you. And I ain't going to tell you nothing. I wasn't going to tell them anyway.
The games.
But right. And so, man, my ex-wife knew something. She said she didn't want my kids to be a product of me. And I was like, my ex-girlfriend said, Leon, there's something wrong with you, and a lot of women said that. And I'm like, shit, whatever, tripping. And I was with them the next day. Or if they were smart, they would left me to hell alone. And some of them did.
But they didn't realize that's this. And that goes back to, I mean, people who have been in experiences with someone that was narcissistic or family members, it really also exposes areas where you need to heal, because the things that you accept time and time again starts to show that you literally have lost a piece of yourself, or there's some trauma there that you haven't addressed that's really allowing you to accept this behavior,
So the trauma, I had a lot of trauma, but one thing for sure that I didn't learn how to do until I was 47 was forgiving. And my therapist said, good morning, Mr. Walker. Today we're going to talk about forgiving. I was like, forgiving who? Forgiving who? She's like, the people that harmed you. I was like, nah, hell no, I hate them. They're dead. 2 of them, 3 of them are dead. My babysitter's still alive, but my uncle was murdered. One of my cousins died from alcoholism, and the other female cousin was murdered. And I was like, I ain't forgiving them. They gone. The hell with them. She's like, no. So what made me open up to her when I went through therapy is that she was very approachable. She was nice. I felt comfortable. I would never talk to my ex-wife like this.
Touch on that, Leon, because you and I did talk about, like, you went through a couple therapists before actually, one that really was able to. So, like, what should people be looking for, or what would you say was the deciding factor, or something that triggered and turned the tables for you when you met with that one specific therapist or psychotherapist?
She was cool, right? So I'm gonna tell you something. The first psychiatrist was a male years ago, and I was like, I was young in the Navy. I'm like, man, I ain't coming back. I went back. I'm like, whatever. The second one was a psychotherapist, and I walked in her office, and I just read my medical record the other day, or last month, not the other day, I'm sorry. And it stated he doesn't take therapy serious, and he came in with a bad attitude, and he walked out of my office after 18 minutes. I didn't know she had typed all that stuff about me. They type up everything. Of course, you have to write it, dialogue. But I was in her office after 18 minutes. I walked out. And I remember when I walked in her office, I was like, she's ugly. I don't say that now. But I said it then. I was like, I didn't want to sit in front of her talking to her. I'm like,
because that was just your mindset at the time. Yeah.
And this is how it's sick.
No, I'm great. Honestly, I'm grateful. Your transparency is because these are thoughts that go through people's heads. So I'm grateful for your transparency, Leon.
Right? Thank you. I appreciate that. Then the next lady I went into, she's a psychiatrist, and she was leaning like, and I'm like, and I sat down, and so she had her cleavage showing. I'm not saying she did it on purpose, but she was top heavy. I wasn't even paying attention to what the hell she was saying. I'm looking at her breasts. I'm like, and she's like, Mr. Walker, can we get started? I was like, yeah. Like, I'm caught. But I'm like, act like I'm not caught. I'm like, yeah, yeah. So I walked out of her office after 50 minutes. I'm like, I'm going to stay jacked up for the rest of my life. I don't care. And then I kept walking, going in, leaving, going, leaving. Then finally in January 2015, I sat in the office and I stayed because I was getting close to retirement. I wanted some help. I wanted to understand, because there's no pills, there's no medicine for this. It's talk therapy. And so if you don't talk to a therapist, a psychotherapist, a psychiatrist, it's not going to work. And it only works if you want to get better, if you want to, because I can't change my personality disorder, it's permanent, but I can make some exchanges. And she told me that because I went in her office with no hope. I was like, I'm divorced. I just broke up with my girlfriend after 6 years. I'm like, well, whatever. And she's like, you can make some exchanges, Mr. Walker, but you're not going to change permanently. This is your permanent personality. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, but we're going to, she said, hold on. We're going to make some exchanges, okay? I was like, ooh, okay. So we started talking, and she was just, first I was afraid of her. One woman was ugly. The one woman was ugly. The other woman, I was looking at her breasts, and then her, she was just like stern. And so I was a trigger because my ex-wife was always stern with me because she knew I was a piece of crap. She knew I wasn't trustworthy. So I'm like, here we go with this asshole. You know, I don't want to be here. But she was sitting there and she had on all black and a little hair was like covering her face. So I was like, who's behind that hair? Like, what's going on? She had on a black shirt, black pants. And every time I went to see her, she had on all black. So I'm like, all right, but she was cool. She would sit back and cross her legs, and she go, no, and she should get on the computer and type, and be like, okay, so you said this. Well, what about this? So let's talk about this. And I was just opening up more and more, and it really started when she had me to open up about my mother. That meant the world to me because I didn't know how to let go of being angry with my mother. Yeah. She asked me, and then this is what it is. I'm like, so once she opened that up, it was good. So I talked about my childhood. You know, then she told me I was dealing with avoidance issues and escapism, and I was emotionally detached, and I wanted women to depend on me, but when they depended on me, I got angry. And she said, you know, we talked about my guilt. Did I feel bad about things? I was like, maybe for a few seconds. After that, I was like, too bad, you know, cry, and I'm walking away. I'm leaving you. I don't like you. I got caught cheating, caught lying. I'm like, I feel guilty for a few seconds, but it was no long term. It was never long term. Even with my success in the Navy, it was never long term. I win something, on to the next. I get rank number 1, I rub in people's face, on to the next. I walk around real cocky, like, yeah. So it started with the one question about my mother, which I never told women about my mother. Okay. They eventually met my mother, but I didn't want them to meet her when we would go to Cleveland because my mother was a crackhead. I would have to go find my mother in the crack house to introduce her to my girlfriend. I'm like, would you just stop getting high? You know, it's just like, sit, you know, I'm sorry. I just wanted a mother figure, you know? Yeah. Even in my 40s, I just wanted a mother figure. And so I fell in love with all my girlfriend's mother because, hey, Leon, come over. I got some chicken and greens and macaroni and cheese. I didn't hear that from my mother since I was 11 years old. I didn't want to hear it from somebody else's mother. I wanted to hear it from my mother, but my mother was getting high.
And then you want that love, but then still didn't know how to really receive it because it just wasn't there.
Right. I didn't know how to tell somebody my mother's a crackhead and she's up the street, let's go meet her. And even when my mother was high, she was still very intelligent. My friends would have conversations with my mother right after she got high. They'd be like, your mother cool. I'm like, I don't want to hear this. I don't. Let's go. And like, okay, Leon, I introduced you to my mother. That's who she is, okay? Right. So they were like, all right, we ain't gonna talk about your mother no more. But I wanted to share my mother with my girlfriends. I wanted to, but I couldn't.
Now, there are a couple of questions, Leon, that someone asked, why did you get married knowing that you were going to treat the person like this?
Great question. So when I was in Cleveland, a recruiter, I was very promiscuous, very whorish, okay? Very. And so my friend came to my job and it's in 1994. He said, man, I got this girl I want you to meet, bro. Dog, you need to stop messing with all these women, man. I'm like, bro, I can't. Why should I stop? They're coming at me, so I'm giving them what they want. Even if it was 3 minutes of sex, I'm like, they satisfied my need. I wasn't trying to satisfy her. I just wanted, she's just a number to me. So anyway, he came to my job. He said, I want to meet this woman, man. She's so all the women that I was attracted to, check this out. All the women that I was attracted to either smoke, drank, like to fight, have kids. You know why? Because my dad was attracted to those women. And for years before the Navy, I saw my father with those women. Smoke, drink, fight, have sex, and start the hell over. So I was addicted to those type of women. I was attracted to them because a wholesome, down-to-earth, real woman, I was afraid of them. I'm like, oh, she going to hold me accountable. I don't want this. I want to drink, smoke, have sex, and fight. I love that.
Right.
So he introduced me to her. I'm like, oh, she's pretty. She didn't have any kids. She just got out of college. She was working by herself. She was working in a great job. She had her own house. That didn't feel good to me. It's too pure. It's too right. I wanted hell in my life. I needed hell in my life. That's what I was addicted to. And so I was like, man, you're right. So I tried. But when he introduced me to her, we got together. And then I was still messing with those dysfunctional women, those female Leon.
I mean, it's kind of like basically you were dating her but cheating.
Yeah, I was still messing with female Leons. And so I screwed her over. We got engaged. And to answer the lady's question, I didn't want anybody else to have her. I was greedy. And I mentioned this earlier, the two things, shadow traits. Shadow traits are traits that are not hardwired to our personality, but we have them. We can get rid of them. Greed and lust. So I had her, and so therefore she had morals, character, integrity, all of that. She wasn't going to cheat, never. She didn't even know how to cheat. She was a good woman. So I got her, and I didn't want anybody else to get her. So I'm like, I got a prize. Hey, this is cool. She can help me out. I wasn't ready to get help. I thought I was trying to act like I wanted to get help. I never taken the therapy. I should have went to therapy with my wife. We went to marriage counseling, and I walked out. Gone. Like, I'm sitting in the county just, because it was like, I felt like her and the counselor were against me. And guess what?
That happens a lot of times. I hear that a lot. But
they should have been against me because I was the one doing wrong in the marriage. She took me to marriage counseling to help our marriage, and I walked out. I didn't try to help our marriage. I didn't try to save it. So to answer her question, I wanted to have her and all these other women too, and I was able to do it, but not for so long. It finally came out, and I got caught. And so, yeah, I shouldn't have gotten married. I ruined her life. I turned her life upside down. She told me that, and that hit me pretty hard. It was like we were just pretty much going through the motions. I was deploying a lot. I was in the Navy, so home was taken care of as far as financially, but spiritually it wasn't. I wasn't a good husband. I was very unfair. I was very dysfunctional. I was very stupid. I was very immature. I wasn't a good husband.
And the key word, I think, maturity. And I think you talked about this in a couple of your lives, I believe, or just your YouTube videos about just being trapped at a certain age, like your maturity. Like usually, whenever there's something traumatizing that happens, usually at that age, you actually stop mentally maturing. And I think that you touched on that, and the way you stated it was in such I can't recall exactly how you said it, but basically you were like a little boy stuck.
Yeah. I was, had I not gotten therapy, I would have you wouldn't be talking to me now. Somebody asked me, I apologize to my ex-wife, my ex-girlfriend. I had my mother ex-girlfriend contact me last year from 1992, and we talked, and it felt good to hear her voice, but I apologize to her because all the women that I dated were emotionally way more mature than I was. Okay. I can get in a relationship and play the part, but after a while, it's going to be like, I can't do this anymore because I'm fake. I'm not being real, I can kiss you and hug you, but after a while, it's like, I can't do this. This is not me, So it's acting. It was hard. And so, yeah, but I talked to my exes and I apologize. Not only them, but the males that I led in the Navy that I hurt or berated or put down, or wore out and working too hard. I apologize to them too.
Leon, someone asked, would it be freeing to express your emotions to the narc? Even if they don't care, just to free yourself, to express your pain to them. Would it be freeing to do that?
If you do not Listen, if you do that, do not expect him or her to respond and say anything nice or pleasant to you. Because I never wanted to hear a woman tell me she loved me, because now it's like, ooh, I got to say it to her, but I don't know how to say it. I could say it, but I wouldn't feel it. So I would lie. Don't expect them to give you any type of closure, any type of feed. Do not expect that, because they can't do it. They don't want to do it. I can do it now because I have more understanding, clarity, and awareness because of my therapy. But before therapy, you say, you know what, express yourself to me. All right. You know what, Tasha, I could sit down and make a woman cry and then just sit there and watch her cry and wouldn't feel anything.
And just nothing.
Absolutely. Two things I felt. I'll be honest with you. I felt anger, even if I made her cry. I'm like, what the hell are you crying for? Damn, will you stop all that damn crying? Stop. It's irritating me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Leon, you know, and I'm not making fun of her, but that's
Right.
what they would stop crying for me and suppress it. And I'm not going to make it better later on. I'm not going to come back and be like, all right, you know, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make you cry. No, I meant to make her cry because I was insecure. So I got to hurt you, make you feel bad, because I'm not going to feel it. And the second reason why, if a woman cried, two things happened. I got upset. And the second thing happened, it turned me on. And I can't explain to the women. They'll go, well, what do you mean? It turned me on to feel that I had the ability to make her cry. But it's another step to that. If I make her cry and I go hug her, hugging her was not to console her. Hugging her was to see if I can feel her body. And if she hugged me back and she kissed me, now I wanted to have sex. So
Right.
anger and sex, it was always about feeding one or the other. If I get angry and you push me when I try to hug you, I'm going to go smoke, drink, or cheat.
Yeah.
But
And that's your way of surviving with your demons at that time, where
yeah,
she's literally, truthfully, genuinely in love with you, I'm sure.
yeah,
But you had, so I mean, it doesn't sound odd for you to mention that. I'm actually I'm grateful you mentioned it, because that's what happens. It's feeding your demons at the time. Whoever the person's dealing with, they, like you said, they're emotionally detached. So you're sitting there crying out, and that person, if they have not got the help, like say, for example, right now, you can address that, you can recognize that. They knew what they're doing because it's feeding them.
yeah,
Some
all the time. Yeah.
Lyrical Love asks, so it's hard for you. So is it hard for you to be affectionate?
No,
And that could be, I don't know how that feels now versus, in the past. I don't know.
back then it was hard. I would be like, stop. You know, even though I like kissing women, back then it was like affectionate, romance, rose petals,
Yeah.
candle lights, bubble bath. Nah, get in the shower with me. We're gonna play in the shower when they're gonna go right to the bed. It's like, whoo-hoo. It wasn't no romancing the stone. It wasn't no starting the kitchen. I was always touchy-feely because if she turned me on, which happens a lot because I was very promiscuous and sexual. It wasn't like build up to it, Leon. No, it wasn't like the holding hands and the soft music and the great conversation and Google looking at each other's eyes and all. It was like boom, bam, you know. And the women was like, well, damn, you know. They were satisfied, but they weren't romanced at all. I'm like, I'm not a romantic dude. You already knew that when you met me. You know, we talked about that. Because I guarantee you, any conversation I had with a woman when I was out there like that, sex is going to come up. It's going to come up. And the more we talk, the more you drink, the closer we get into your bedroom. You're not going to deny me. You can't. You could, but I didn't want her. I didn't let her allow her. So I was always touchy, feely. But
your end goal was really not to like fall in love. It was just to get her in bed, basically.
I fall in love? No. But the affection, my ex-girlfriend was very affectionate. And she was always kissing on me and chewing on me and rubbing me. And I'm like, stop, you know. But that was her love language. And I just couldn't match it.
You couldn't receive it at that time.
At that time, yeah. Now I understand, you know, let a woman be a woman, let a man be a man, love them right where they are, accept them for who they are, understand and know their love languages, and don't block that. Don't push them away because they'll feel rejected.
This is a good question because this is where a lot of people are. I think it's IVB says, what advice would you give a woman who's trying to heal from the damage a narc caused? And I think this could go both ways, a man or a woman. Like, what advice would you give?
So the advice I give for that is, so I don't always push therapy on people, but it's good. But people, and the people like, Leon, I went through therapy. My therapist not helping me. So what happens is a woman goes to therapy, right? Then she comes home to the person that put her in therapy, if they're still together. Or she comes home to that environment that put her in therapy, the same bedroom, the same couch that they were together on, whatever. The key thing here is after therapy, rehab. And people say, well, I'm not hooked on drugs, Leon. No, I was your drug, Tasha. I'm your drug. So you need to get off, be unhooked off, get hooked off of me. Rehab, being around people that enjoy you, being around people that celebrate you, being around people that uplift you, being around people that keep you away from a Leon. Get into a hobby, roller skate, ride bikes, get with a group of healthy, wholesome, righteous, down-to-earth, strong women that you constantly hear their stories, and you'd be like, well, dang, oh, they did the same thing. They went through the same thing. How did y'all get over it? And then start sharing that, okay? And a lot of women say, I went no contact, but you're still fiending for me because you're thinking about me. And then a lot of women I talk to, Leon, I broke contact. I call them and email them. Okay. I never tell women to leave a man. I never tell a man to leave a woman. But process it and see what you're doing. But don't leave yourself.
And I think that most of the time has already happened while they were in the relationship.
There you go. And so for the woman to ask that question, realize that that person was killing. I was killing women on the inside, breaking hearts, causing their menstrual cycle to be off, causing them to lose hair. Their skin is wrinkled. Their eyes are not white. They're not partying. They're not going. They don't want to get up, go to work. They can't move because there wasn't nothing I was doing physical. It was just the mental torture that I was doing to women. Yeah. And so that's why now it's like I feel like I'm in hiding in plain sight. God got me out here, but women are like, I ain't messing with it, you know? And so make sure you get your rehab around people that are healthy, good, healthy, wholesome people that's going to dig you out of that hole and stay away from that person. You're going to have triggers. You might smell my cologne in the air. You might hear a song that we used to dance to. You might see a restaurant that we went to. It's okay. I wasn't good for you. I was unhealthy for you. You got to wait. Be thankful. See, I tell women, be thankful that they're like, well, I'm trying to figure out how am I going to not go back, Leon? No. How are you going to continue moving forward? Because you're already out of the relationship.
Right.
That's your start. Step one is boom. You move, you forward, you out, you gone. You ain't going back. Just keep going. Get your rehab. Being around healthy people. Drink coffee with people. Drink tea with people. Okay. Meditate. Do yoga. Build a garden. Do some woodwork. Read some books. Be around healthy people that'll show you that I wasn't shit, period. Mm-hmm. And you start seeing, damn, I was, you know what? After a while, you be like, women like, Leon, I really figured out that you wasn't nothing. I'm like, I know. But I start seeing these other men, I'm like, comparing me to them. And I didn't want to hear that. But she's like, they're so gentle and understanding, Leon. And they listen. You wasn't doing none of that. And I was like, I don't want to hear it. Boom, hang up, you know. So be around people that'll make you see life differently. That changes your focus and gives you a better vision.
I agree. And I think just getting away from the cake, because there's such an emotional roller coaster that even just sitting in that maybe if you're in peace now, you know, you're going to miss the person. I think people have to, it happens. It's trauma bonding, right? That's
natural. You're going to miss the person, but you got to remember, you're going to also be aware of the hell that you went through.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Every time you think about Leon, think about me being verbally abusive. When you think about Leon, think about me walking out when you cry. When you think about Leon, think about the women that's texting and calling you about me leaving their house or me flirting with you. When you think about Leon, don't think about, so women have a problem with thinking about the great memories and the great times, and that didn't mean anything to me. Mm-hmm. Narcissists don't care about time and memories. It's gone. Right. On to the next. So stop thinking about the good times. I'm not saying immerse yourself in the bad times, but when you think about me, you should only have bad reminders, because if you have good reminders, you can start wanting to come back. You're going to text, you're going to call, you're going to email, you're going to wonder what I'm doing. And then once I figure it out, I'm going to text you and it's on again. And we start over.
And you know, honestly, you said, and I talked to two women who said what they did, they wrote down the list of things that really, really just broke them in the relationship. And that was their only saving grace to get them to leave. Because otherwise, the highs would be so high that you forget, you know, all of the things, like you said, that moment you left me, the people texting me, you know, you ghosting, you gaslighting, you know, those things you forget about.
Yeah.
So having a list, like a physical, like journal, this is what I spoke with 2 women about, like a physical journal where they wrote down those things. And that's what whenever they had a feeling to want to go back, they looked at that and it put them back in check.
And you know what I tell women too? Get you 2 jars, clear jars. For every day that you didn't contact Leon, put a quarter in it, or put $1 in it, or put $20 in it. Because it's going to take you months to get over a Leon, because I'm damn near in your DNA. Okay? Because I withdrew. And when I withdrew, you're going to have withdrawals. I don't care. I'm talking about the prior therapy. I don't care. I don't have withdrawals because I already replaced you with the same woman that has nice looking hair, nice lips, nice butt, nice breasts. I'm going to replace you, so I'm not going to miss out. You're going to miss out on me. As cruel as that sounds, that's how it goes, ladies. Get you a jar, and every day you don't contact me, put $1 in it. Put $1 in it. But when you try to contact me, be fair and honest with yourself. Put $1 in the other jar that you tried to contact me. I'm not going to go so deep as to say, think about me. Now, if you try to contact me or you try to call, put $1 in the jar. If you didn't, put $1 in the didn't jar. I did, I didn't. And after 3 months, can you hear me? If you put, after 3 or 4 months, if you put $20 in there for every thought, then at the end, take yourself out. Treat yourself. Okay. Don't fail. In the jar, if you didn't contact me, you have more money in others. So now you're gonna see your results. And now you get out of that jar. So you know what? Let me go buy me some Louis Vuitton shoes or some Jimmy Choo boots or whatever. Or a nice Tiffany necklace. Let me treat myself. Let me take care of myself. Then you figure out you don't need Leon to take care of you like you thought you did. You like being around me. You're attracted to me. I smell good. The sex is great. I touch you. But who else was I doing that for? You weren't the only one. And I'm not trying to be cruel, but a lot of women go, you know.
It's the truth, Leon.
Yeah. How did he leave me? I just left you. I never explained that because I couldn't. I didn't have the mindset. I didn't have the maturity for it. You are too mature for me. I can't handle you. But I'm not going to tell you that. I'm just going to ghost you and disappear and start over. So I was very, very sick. Very, very sick. I had the heart and the nerve to do it. I don't have the heart and nerve to do it now.
Adrian said it's very helpful. This information is helpful, and that's coming from a man. You know, like these are things that people need to be able to continue to talk about. It's talking about it and that just continuing the conversation. So like right now, I mean, we have to end the conversation because I know we could go on forever. And I do want to continue more conversations, Leon. So I'll touch base with you on that. But I really want to just see like someone who's maybe in that place right now, who's in a relationship where it's just like emotional roller coaster, like up and down, like it's just no peace. Where do they start? Like, what do they do right now, this moment? Like one day is cool, next day is chaos. One day, you know, like, so what do they do?
So this is what they have to do. And I ain't holding back.
You can't.
You have to realize that you are dying on the inside. You're no good to your friends. You're no good to your family. You're no good to your kids. You're not being the mother or father that you could be because I am preventing you from doing that. You spend majority of your day thinking about Leon. You spend the majority of your day worried about Leon. You spend the majority of your day arguing with Leon. You forgot your kids' lunch. You didn't cook the meal tonight for the kids or your grandmother, mother, or whoever's staying with you. They're healthy people. I'm in your life, but I'm unhealthy. But I got you worried about me. And you worry about me so much that you're not even thinking about your kids when you should. You missed a soccer game. You missed track practice. You missed basketball. You didn't cook. You burned the biscuits. You're all over the place. Right. You're dying on the inside, and your kids are being affected. Your grandmother, your uncle, your aunt, whoever's living with you is being affected.
Right.
But not Leon. I keep it going. I keep the drama going because I'm all about this drama. Not anymore. This is prior to therapy.
Right.
So you have to realize that you are dying on the inside. I read a great quote. People die at 25, but they're not buried until they're 75. There are a lot of people walk around like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they get up the next day and they start over. They get up the next day. Now you got a headache. Now your back hurts. Now your stomach hurts. Now your chest is hurting. Oh, my cholesterol is high. No, you got a Leon in your damn life. Yeah. And I'm causing all of that stress. As soon as you go to the hospital, you're going to say, well, you got a lot of stress in your life. We just noticed that. What is it for? They drop their head. Oh, well, you know, me and my board. There it is. As soon as you get rid of a Leon, your skin clears up. Your eyes clear up. You're more loving. You're more caring. You pay attention to things. You want to go to work. You want to go dancing. You want to go roller skating. But I'm hurting you and I'm killing you on the inside.
So it's getting help. First of all, just recognizing that this can't continue. You can't live like this. You can't.
That is, you can't continue getting closer and closer to your casket and your plot.
Yeah.
Because you're going.
True. That's true.
And then if you keep going, and then when the tables start to turn and you get your power, Tasha, and I'm starting to like get weak, because it's going to happen. It happened to me. Now, is he going to hurt you? Is he going to harm you? He's going to harm your kids? So once you get out and stay the hell out.
You know, somebody that is watching that maybe will consider themselves, you know what, maybe I am Leon. What do you say to them?
So I had a man text me yesterday after the live. He said, man, I'm you, bro. And a couple of weeks before that, another guy, man, bro, Leon, I'm you. What I say to that is this. Start enrolling in your therapy. Start. Don't put it off any longer, because now you see me that you can identify with. You see me. I went through therapy. I'm getting better. I'm vulnerable and I'm transparent. But I'm still a man. I didn't lose anything besides the women and a great wife and a great relationship with my kids. I lost that, but it's coming back, my kids. But enroll in therapy and try to get better, want to do better, because nothing comes good out of being a narcissist at the end of the day if you keep doing it. But bad health, destruction, death. People don't want to be around you. They don't want to be bothered with you. Right. So I tell my brothers and the women too that are narcissistic or think they are, enroll in therapy. If you realize it, if you listen to me and it hurts you, it hits you, that's because God is sending a message from me to you. Yeah. So start working on yourself so that you can get better. Because when you get better, you start treating people better, you have more blessings. Yeah. A lot of my blessings were blocked. Yeah. My soul and spirit was sealed off. I'm like, what's going on with me? Why? You know, because I was just a dark, dysfunctional dude, and I was dancing with the devil for many, 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 many years. So to my message to them is start your therapy, get around different people, make some exchanges, stop the drugs, stop smoking so much, stop drinking so much, stop being verbally abusive, stop cheating, okay, stop being promiscuous. All of those things. Right. So it's a start for better health, because you can be addicted to the Leon. I was addicted to myself. Like I said, this feels too good. It couldn't be nothing. Ain't nothing wrong with me. Can't be.
Right. Someone also mentioned changing your circle. That's true. That's very true, Raymond. Definitely.
On point. Changing your circle, making it the size of a period.
I haven't heard that, but that's real. That's so real.
My friend Claudetta told me that, and I was like, I remember that, but change your circle, make it small.
Up here, but we do want to continue the conversation. So you guys, please look out. If there's questions you have, please send them. That could help guide our next conversation. But Leon, I know Leon is on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook,
Google. My website is leonrobertwalkerjr.com. And when we do I'll be talking to you a lot, but in July, August, I'm going to do a free book giveaway about called the 7 Lovers Traits. I'm going to do a free book giveaway on everybody that interviewed me. So we'll do a whole hour of giving the books away. I'll sign them, I'll mail them out, and I'll do that for your show, for your page.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I have you, and also check out his link tree. There's right now 3 books listed there that I even started like reading them. There one on porn and like just guiding your kids.
Yeah.
And then the other two, Leon, can you mention them real quick?
Broken is my first memoir, and I just finished. Not only did I finish the book on narcissism, but I just finished my second memoir. It's about my first 4 years in the Navy and part of my diagnosis. And then my third book is called Love Ship, which is all about relationships, nothing but relationships, friendship, courtship, relationship, and something else. But Love Ship is all about relationships.
Okay. Oh, someone said they read two of them, Broken and Love Ship. I got to finish them. So I'm looking forward to that. But check out his link tree. They're all available on Amazon. And it's just good. It's just the awareness and educating ourselves. So I appreciate you so much, Leon. I keep telling you that. Thank you for being on here and being transparent and just doing what you're doing.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Tasha. We'll talk, and I look forward to it. Yeah.
Likewise.
All right.
Thank everybody for joining. See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.